Hi, everybody. This is Kim Morse, and I want to thank you so much again for joining me for my Togetherness Tuesday. As some of you know that follow me, I come on live on Facebook almost every single Tuesday and talk about relationships. So if you have a question and I'm online, feel free to comment below. And if you're on live, I would love to know. And one of the only ways that I can really know is if you leave me a comment, say hi or whatever. So please do that so that I know that you're there. And if you want to make sure that you see the live broadcast every week, go ahead and please go to my Sailing Happily Ever After Facebook page and subscribe there, and then you'll get notified every time I go live, and it would be great to have you online. So today I'm really excited because I have a colleague and friend of mine, excuse me. I actually met her this past year at the Relationship Coaching Institute retreat, and we had a great weekend that weekend. So her name is Marcy Rich. Say hi, Marcy.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. And she's going to talk to us today about our differences. So the name of what she's talking about today is Why Isn't My Partner Like Me? So we all kind of wonder that sometimes. Why don't they react the way we react? So Marcy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why coaching? Why are you a relationship coach? Why is that important to you?
Well, first of all, Kim, I want to thank you for having me. This is great. I'm so excited. And because my passion is relationships. I'm a very much people person, and I've seen so many people have bad relationships and do nothing about it. And when I got so frustrated about that, I decided I need to do something about it. It's when I found Relationship Coaching Institute. I was the early years. Mm-hmm. And I just felt that I had a mission in life to help people really make good relationships and get out of the anger, the angst, the frustration that they endure. And I truly believe that if each one of us takes our responsibility in having good relationships, eventually we will have a perfect world. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great. And I believe in that too. I believe that if we could straighten out the relationships in the world, it would solve so many problems. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So tell us then about what you're going to talk about today.
Well, I'm going to talk about those differences. That's what I was saying before about it's just a matter that we just don't deal with those differences. Let's, for example, start out with when you're dating and you go with the expression opposites attract, right? Mm-hmm. We love that idea. Yes, he or she is just the opposite of me. And we're so intrigued by those new things. And then one day it's like, well, that person becomes or that a difference becomes an obstacle, and that person becomes an annoyance and an irritant. And so what we, right?
It happens to all of us, right?
Exactly. It's like, what was I thinking? It becomes your nightmare. You don't realize that it was like so wonderful before. And for example, some point when all the, those first 18 months of the relationship, when everything is going really well, the honeymoon part of a relationship, and all of a sudden you start realizing, wait a minute, my partner likes to do things quickly, get it done and get the job done, and you prefer to evaluate first. You want to go through all the pros and cons before you do anything. Well, there's a very big difference in how we see the world then. And this causes arguments resulting in much contention and ultimately what is called, the reason for divorce too many times, irreconcilable differences. The truth of the matter is those irreconcilable differences, and notice, by the way, in that term, differences is the noun. That is the main idea there, the differences, and then we attach the adjective of irreconcilable. Change that to reconcilable, and you move forward. You don't have to get to the point of irreconcilable differences. So what happens, though, is that we need to start changing our thinking. That is, the actions that could be the annoyance and the irritant and not the person, but we attach it always to the person. We need to let go. That's the first thing we need to do, because basically they are behaving the best way they know how, what is most comfortable for them, the patterns they've built up over years, growth years and young adult years and such. and it's comfortable for them. It's the natural tendency to behave this way.
Right.
So we just have to understand that and get a good grasp of what these differences are and how to deal with them. So we often think of differences as being wrong.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're not right thinking that way. I'm right. We attach ourselves to being right too often and don't understand. And basically, there's the term understand what makes that person behave a different way. The truth of the matter is there is no right or way in your typical normal behaviors. Neither behavior is right, neither is wrong. And we just think of those differences as being a source of frustration when actually they are what make our relationships so rich. Right. So the important thing is to remember that people who you care about do not always think or behave the way you do. But that's the richness. That's where our growth comes in, when we recognize that and we work from that point. And differences between you and your partner need not drive a wedge into your relationship. In fact, you want to use these differences to strengthen your marriage, your relationship, your partnership, instead of breaking it up.
Right. I always say to my couples when they hit a big difference to say, wow, what an opportunity, right?
It is. It's differences are an opportunity in work clothes. Right? Yeah. It's a great time. It's a great time for conversation. And sometimes, I always say, listen more, speak less, be more interested than interesting. Find out, inquire. Inquiry is great. Ask your partner, what is it about that? What made you do that? Not the why so much, but the what, the how. The why oftentimes creates defenses. So you go the other way on that. Carl Rogers, a famous psychologist, coined the term unconditional positive regard. I love that term, meaning that we are to accept people for who and what they are and not criticize them because they are different from us. So that's really the key, is that we want to manage, accept, and appreciate the differences and not fight the differences. And too often that's what people do. They fight the differences and hold on to their position.
Well, that's the easy way. I mean, that's the reaction, right?
Yes.
Yeah. To be frustrated and just react.
Exactly right. We react. You're exactly right. And many times it's the fight reaction. Yeah, we don't think first. We don't understand first. We shoot from the hip. We react. Very much so. So what we're going to do now is take a look at 4 universal types of people, because you and your partner will be, sometimes you're the same one, sometimes, and more often than not, you're a little bit different, or it's on a continuum. So let's look at the first way, those people who are very assertive. We have a group of people who are very assertive. These are the people who are direct, they're fast-paced, they are the tellers. We will go to the movie today, right? Not do you want to. We will go to the movie. And then there are those who are not as assertive. When they're not as assertive, they're going to be indirect, reserved. They're going to ask. Again, they're going to say, do you want to go to the movies? And they're more slower paced. So it's always a good way to start to understand the difference between people. And I always say, when I work with this and work with couples, where do you see yourself on that continuum? Do you find yourself a fast talker, fast paced, you tell, you control, or the opposite? Do you you stand back a little bit, you self-contain, you are less assertive, slower paced? You can always tell, by the way, how people speak. You probably notice I speak quickly. I am more on the assertive, on that continuum going, if it were vertical, more toward the top of that. So now we add to those two, to the assertive, the line of assertive, going the other way, which we have, let's say, a horizontal bar, and we're going to go into those who are, let's say, those who are assertive can be also self-contained, detached, and task-oriented. So let's talk about those people. They are tellers, they are direct, and they are more self-contained and detached. So if we look at those people, they are assertive, direct, fast-paced, tellers, self-contained, detached, and task-oriented. That really gives a good briefing on what someone. And I'm sure when people are listening to this, they're going to go, "Oh yeah, that's either someone with whom I work, or that's my partner, or that's my parent, child."
Yeah, we can all think of someone that fits that description, I think. Yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah, because there's so many people in this world who are like that. There's nothing wrong with it. The key is to understand it and to appreciate it and know how to work with it. So these people need to be in charge and in control. They are results driven and decisive. And what's very important, what we don't realize, it's very important to understand what people fear. Because remember, fear is a huge motivator. And our behaviors usually come from what motivates us. So always know what people fear. So these people fear loss of control. Mm-hmm. So if you want to improve your relationship with this person, if you're not like that person, let's say, and your partner is like that person, well, you want to get to the point. They don't like a lot of chit chat. They want, get to the point. What is it you want to say, right? Get to the point. Let them know what if you're showing them something, what it does, by when, what it costs. Boom. I want a new car. This is what I looked at. This is how much it costs. Boom. Just to the point, and give them options and probabilities, and speak of terms and end results. They're results driven. Mm-hmm. They want end results. What is going to be what's the outcome of? They don't care about the process. They want the outcome. So if you go and do everything about a process for them, snooze, they turned you off immediately. And what happens at that point? You're not listening to me. I turned you off 5 minutes ago. But there's the argument, right? Mm-hmm. There's two irreconcilable differences. You
don't listen, but you go on too much. So those are
Exactly. There has to be a happy medium, and we have to understand them, and maybe share the spotlight and who we are at different times. Reinforce their optimism and act quickly and decisively when you work with these people. Now, we also talked about how we can appreciate. So if I'm trying to understand this person, there are a lot of good qualities that I should appreciate about this person. They cause change. If I need, now I'm not this kind of person, so I often have to work with this kind of person because they get the results for me, where I can talk all the time and go all these different ideas. They narrow it down for me and say, here's what we need to do next. So I appreciate them for that reason. They tackle things difficult to master. They solve problems, which is great. And they want to be appreciated for their accomplishments and contributions. So if you want to help them out, you appreciate and let them know that I really like that you came up with that solution so quickly for me. They'll love to hear that.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And it was free to say. That's why I always tell my clients, it doesn't cost you anything to say that. It didn't even take much oxygen. So, right? So why not? Why not? Right. Okay, so, and they can be a frustration because they often ignore feelings and are often very opinionated. So we have to understand that that's who they are. And we just have to step back and go, okay, he or she is just being that way because it's most comfortable. Not, we have to stop taking it personally. I think that's the main thing here. Anyway, stop taking it personally. Okay, let's look at the other one who is also, direct and assertive, fast-paced, a teller. They, though, are different than one about whom I just spoke because they are open, people-oriented. These are affiliated people. They're relational. They're not task as the other one is. They're more people-driven, and they want to be part of the whole people situation. So these people need recognition. They love recognition, so it's a good thing to always pat them on the back. They like it. They love the spotlight.
Oh, you sound like you're describing me.
You and I think it's something with your relationship
Maybe
coaches.
So.
I think most of them are that in that category, people related. because you can't be pushed back or reserved if you really want to do that. Although every profession has every type, by the way. So they work. We need them all. Sure. Yeah, they want free from control and detail, and they're very social, and they are persuasive. So if you are not like that and your partner is like that, you have to give that to them, right? That's where they're most comfortable. You're not gonna stop them from being very social, want to, talk to people and talk to your partner when your partner wants to maybe just watch TV. This is a good time to say, when can we speak? The speaker's contract we often talk about. I know you don't want to speak to me now, but I have so many stories to tell you, right? I have to tell you about my day today. That's when you find a good time and ask them what's a good time to do that. So you're allowing them to understand your behavior and what you're comfortable with and what they're comfortable with. And they fear loss of social approval. Remember, fear is a motivator. So you want to make sure you don't, reject them socially. And if they are, they're going to kind of be upset. They like I said, they're the entertainers. They're the ones who like the spotlight, and they like the socialization. So how do you improve your relationship with that person? Well, you want to support their ideas and give them plenty of opportunities to verbalize about their ideas. They come up with ideas all over. And I guess this is more who I am. I'm always coming, if someone says it's like spaghetti, you just, all these ideas thrown all over the place. So you have to, acknowledge those and let them verbalize them. And they'll have ideas about people. And also, they're very intuitive. So trust their intuition. And if you don't trust their intuition, this could be insulting to them because they value their intuition. So acknowledge it. Not that you always have to go with it, but at least acknowledge it. Give them a pat on the back for their intuition. And give them an opportunity to help expressing your feelings and their feelings. They like a warm touch and an embrace. They're more your touchy-feely. So for those people who don't like to do that, many times you want to improve and make sure you don't get to those irreconcilable differences. Well, once in a while, give a little warm touch. And that could just be a nice little hand-holding while you're watching TV. But that will make such a difference to this type of person. So what do we appreciate about them? Their optimism, very optimistic people, very upbeat. So we appreciate that. We appreciate their energy they exude. We appreciate how they love to entertain people, how they create excitement and involvement. Those are kind of neat things. Not everybody does that. And they want to be appreciated for their unique talents and their personalities. So if you can tell them they're funny, they're humorous, they have a great personality, they'll love it. So anytime you want to say that, and I'll say it to you, we both have great personalities, right? We're both that kind of person. There we go. You see how that worked?
You do.
It really does. And they can be a frustration because they spend much time engaging in friendly conversation. They don't always get things done too quickly or even get things done because they get so involved in the socialization and entertaining and speaking. So that could be a frustration to a lot of people. And sometimes they appear disorganized and scattered, which can definitely be a deterrent for many people. So that's the frustration. So if you're on this side of it, yeah, exactly. If you're on this side of it, and who can that be, right? No, I'm never scattered. No, I'm never disorganized, right? I'm just being social, right? Yeah. So if you know that you're this type of person and you know that you are an irritant to your partner because you're disorganized and scattered, then it's your responsibility. It's always our own responsibility to make our own changes. We can't change anybody else.
Right.
To be a little bit more organized and less scattered. And it takes a little bit of control on your own part to do that. It's very difficult, for me to do, but sometimes I just have to focus on that.
That's right.
You do it for your partner, right? You do it for the relationship. So now let's go on to our third one. This is someone who, remember we said, is indirect. They're slow-paced. They're askers. They are also open and people-oriented and affiliated. They're also on the people side. Remember, they're slower paced than the one about whom we just spoke. These people need routine and compatibility with others. They're team players and easygoing. They love the status quo. They love security and safety. And they don't like change. If there's anything I could put on a sticker on their forehead, I don't like it. Very slow to change, and I know several people like that. It's just, they just do the same thing for like 50 years, So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know people like that. So not everybody's that drastic, but these are, the people who like status quo. They're very hard to change. They fear loss of security and stability and sudden change. So if you want to work with them, you don't want to make sudden. If something has to be changed, you better do it in baby steps. They like a process. They really like a step-by-step process. So if you can deal with these people and this is your partner, if you want to maybe sell your house and move somewhere, you just can't throw it at them. Step-by-step process. Why you think you should do it? What are the steps we need to do to take it? It won't be so drastic. If you make the steps from one to another less obvious, the better off you are in working with them. So how can we improve relationship with these people? Give explanations that answer how we're going to make this move, something like how we're going to do this to change jobs or whatever the situation is. Try to stick with traditional procedures. They're very traditional. They're very loyal. And the status quo. Give them plenty of time to adjust. Like I said, don't just throw something at them. Plenty of time to adjust. Give them assurances and guarantees. So a lot of times when I work with business people, I say, use those words. You're guaranteed, okay? They love that because there's that security. So offer them. And remember they like sentimental moments. So once in a while, remember the time when we first met. Remember the time we got our. They love that. So if you're not that kind of person and you want to improve and make your relationship and your differences where they're not irreconcilable, then this is something you're going to be conscious of doing. And it's not an everyday thing. It's not an every minute thing. But even when you do it, they will appreciate you. It will make such a big difference. And again, remember my favorite 4-letter word, it's free. It's free to do that.
I love that. I love that. I don't know if I've ever really heard that before, so I love that. I'm going to steal that from you.
Yeah, it's not copyrighted yet, so hurry up. I don't think I can copyright the word free, but yeah.
Well, I think you can copyright just about anything.
That's true. That's very true. And focus on your relationship. They're relational people, so focus on the relationship. And what do we appreciate about them? Their dependability, and they're loyal, they're dependable, they're trustworthy. Those are great values and assets to have. So we appreciate that, their deep sense of loyalty and dedication, and they want to be appreciated for their quality of relating. So again, if you know what they want to be appreciated for, again, give that to them. Give that to them. And they can be a frustration because they avoid risks and fast decisions. So again, they're slow to make a decision because they're slow to change. So they're not risk takers. The other two we spoke about are much more risk takers than this one here and the next one we're going to talk about. And they are slow to change. That could be an irritant to many, especially that first person we talked about. Wants it right now, results driven, and then you go, oh, this is so slow. Come on, you got to make a decision fast. It's hard for us to get that meeting of the minds there. And then their last one is, we talked about again, this person is indirect. They're a reserve, asker, slow-paced, self-contained, like the one right above we just talked about. But they're going to be now detached. They're going to be task-oriented as opposed to relational or people-oriented. So these people need autonomy and facts and details. So no matter which...
That sounds like my husband.
Oh, okay. Need a lot of data, facts. He needs to weigh the pros and cons. Is that? Yep. There you go. Okay. So you have to give that to him, right? I mean, he needs to have. In fact, when I work with single people or do a workshop for single people, or mostly women, I will say, what happens when you go on a date and the gentleman picks up the bill and he just looks at it and looks at it and looks at it? Well, your first reaction is going to be, he's cheap. He's cheap. He's just being who he is. If he's the first person we talked about, he's looking over because he doesn't want to be taken advantage of. He wants to make sure it's correct. And if the one we're talking about right now, accuracy, he wants to make sure so it's nothing to do. He might spend thousands on you or she, whatever it may be this day and age, but it has to be accurate.
Yeah, you are describing my husband to a T, because every time we go to a restaurant, he gets that check. And heaven forbid if I should pick it up and look at it and pay it with the credit card, which is my style. It's like, yeah, it looks good.
Exactly. And how many people do you know just do the opposite? They just take put their credit card on a little tray and don't even look at it, right?
Yeah, that's more me. He gets it and he looks at every single line and it all has to make sense and he adds it all up in his head. And at first, I think I was just like, I was thinking just like you were describing. I was like, man, this guy's maybe cheap or, why is he so particular? And I mean, he would, if it's $1 off, he'll say something.
Right. Yeah, and you got to give it to him.
I like him being cheap because he'll spend money on me for anything. But it's just, he's like you said,
he's not cheap. No, I didn't say anything about his being cheap. No, or that person being cheap. No, it's just they need to have the details, the facts. So if you are not that person, but your partner is, and you may know this and have worked it out already, if you want to buy something, you have to let him know all the pros and cons. I want a new washing machine. This is the brand you chose. These are the reasons why. Give him that. He'll probably read the little sticker on it. Yeah, I know that look. Yeah.
We'll go on the internet and research it forever, which is great because we always end up getting exactly what we need.
Yeah, in fact, I remember my neighbor down the street from me when I got my first microwave many years ago. She is this kind of person where I'm not. She did all the research for me, and microwaves were pretty new then. And so I knew. So all I had to do then was to go to the store and just say, "Well," she said, "this is the right one to buy," and I bought it. but I was not going to, and of course that before too much of Google or looking things up on the internet. So you really had to do some other kind of research. So we appreciate those people, right? For those of us who don't want to do that research or traveling, I don't want to do research on places where I'm going to go. I just want to be there. Let me know where I'm supposed to be there. And so I appreciate people who are very detailed and will get the information for me. So yeah, these are people I definitely appreciate. But again, they're slow to react, and sometimes you have to give them more than 5 minutes. Sometimes I give them a day to make a decision, and that can be an irritant if you want the decision right now. But you're not going to get the right decision. It's going to be a frustration that's going to again get into an argument, which is not worth it. Not worth it. So see, they're analytical and quality conscious, and they fear criticism of their work. They are perfectionists. So when they do something, you want to compliment. You always want to refer to how their accuracy and how they did a great job of it, and they love that. It's really interesting. The people I know who fall in this category, and maybe artistic and such, don't see it as such. I've given compliments to people who are really good at making flyers and graphic design and such. Mm-hmm. They say, "Oh, that's great." And go, "Really? You really think so?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you don't see it?" So compliment them. They love that. They love recognition of their work as opposed to criticism of it. They fear criticism of their work, effort, or performance. They don't want to make mistakes, and they don't want to be embarrassed. They fear embarrassment. So keep it. Now, this is your husband, so now you know exactly you're going to have the perfect relationship now. And he can thank me anytime. It's okay.
I'll have him give you a call.
So how do we improve the relationship with these people? We provide both the pros and cons of the plan. We talked about that. Stay focused on the issue when disagreeing. Don't go all over. I know if you're like me, you probably do. And, remember when? No. Stay focused on exactly this, because that's what they're looking at. They're doing deep dives in analyzing things. Remember that they're analytical. Mm-hmm. And let's see what else. They preserve their privacy to think and read. They enjoy that. And accept their lack of romantic gesture. I'm not going to ask you about your husband on that one. They're not often touchy-feely people, so sometimes they're not going to be the romantic gestures and such like that. If that's the case, accept it. Just give you that and give them time to decide. We talked about that. And we want to appreciate their accuracy, their precision, their objectivity, and their diplomacy. And they want to be appreciated for their work. And what can be a frustration because they take time to make decisions when you want it right now. Oftentimes they show a little emotion. So whatever, we always think of like engineers, but it's not necessarily true. But oftentimes, is he an engineer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, he fits it perfectly. He's put in my back pocket when I go and go over this more often.
I didn't know we were going to be talking about him today.
You don't want all the details.
About all of us, but I just, because I own my type too, but it's just funny when I hear you describing this person, and when you're married to that person, it just rings so true. And I'm sure the other people that are listening that have partners that fit the other criteria, they'll be doing the same thing for their partner. Yeah.
It never fails when I go through this that I have sometimes I'll have people say, so that's why I'm divorced. So it works both ways, but I get that quite often because I work with a lot of divorced people. But everybody knows, and if it's not, again, your partner, your spouse is going to be a parent, a child, your sibling, people with whom you work, someone you play cards with, go sailing with. There you go. You do sailing right there. We are. There are 7.5 billion people in the world, and what's interesting is that we can just all get into these 4 different categories about which I just spoke, and they're continuums. Huh?
That's amazing that we can really break it down into 4 different categories.
And this has been going on for actually thousands of years, even though this concept is in this last century, but it's always been like 4. And it's so true. It's so true. It just never ceases to be true for me. So a frustration, they take too much time, they show little emotion, they're very reliant on rules. Oh, yeah. Does your husband love rules? Mm-hmm. They love rules. Yeah, they love rules. Everything has a rule. I know someone in my family who's this person, and she has the same rules. And she's older now, and she's had the same rules since she was 16. So you just have to change your rules sometimes. But there are some rules that just don't change. So rather than get upset about those differences, you want to shift your perspective and appreciate how different you are and how you complement each other. So we have anybody who has any questions?
We had a couple people come on, and now I think that they've signed off for now, but they'll probably go back and watch later. But so no, we don't have any. Oh, well, actually, though, I often forget that if someone's on their computer, they don't always show up. So let me go ahead and put this out there. So if there's anybody on that has a question about the differences in their relationship, go ahead and post your comment below. We'd love to answer it live. Or if you're watching the replay, I'd love your comments too, and me and Marcy can jump on and answer any of the questions that you put in the comments. So if you're online, say hi so I know you're there. So I can't always tell if somebody's there or not. So, well, we didn't get any questions yet, but like I said, we will watch the comments on the replay, and if anybody has any questions or even just wants to say, yeah, that's my partner, I get it.
What do I do now?
Then we'd love to hear from you. So how long have you been talking about, these kind of differences in the 4 different personality types? How long have you been?
Since 1993. Actually, wow. Yeah, I started it in, I think it was like 1990. Here's my little story about it, because I tell this often. I used to work for Federal Express, and they were pretty much in their infancy then. And we did one of these, all the people in the category in which I was, the quality professionals. We had to do a different one. This is basically based on one program, a different program that I use. And I had the major aha, and that was, it was okay to be me. I never had that aha moment before. So I was living in Chicago at the time in 1992, late 92, early 93. I moved out here to hot Phoenix, Arizona. I came in the winter, and I was talking to someone and said, oh, then you might want to go and do this other program. And I got involved in it, and I've been in love with it ever since. So it's 1993. I've done workshops with it, and they've changed theirs, and it just works. And I've never had a time when people didn't walk out with that aha moment. And it just really it's made a difference for me. If I'm with someone, who maybe is a different person than I am, and I say, okay, Marcy, step back. This person likes status quo. They don't like change, and this is why they're behaving that way, and I can just count to 10 and not get upset and frustrated and say something I don't want to say, because remember, those words someone said, like feathers in the pillow. When they escape in the air, you can never get them back, right? So, and that helps arguments, right? So, it's always been, it's a great tool, and it just helps. And people, it's not just intellectualizing it, it is using it.
Yeah, and like you said, you can use it with anybody, not necessarily your partner, but
everybody.
With your business contacts. I know that you work a lot with real estate people.
Yes.
And so you work with them to help them to know their clients.
Exactly.
With these different personality types and so forth, so that they can better serve their clients that they're working with. And I'm sure, you get all kinds, I'm sure, when you're selling real estate. So,
absolutely. We say, platinum rule, treat others the way they want to be treated.
Right.
And, so yes, you're right. I work with real estate agents, and we work on, how to identify the client, because the client expects the agent to flex more than the client is going to, and rightfully so. It's nice if it's mutual, but usually the agent. So so they recognize them, and they adapt their own style to meet the other one, and that's where you're going to get more sales. I tell them you're going to get more sales when people feel treated very well.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I do have, because my husband does a little bit of investment in real estate, we have some people that follow us that are involved in real estate. So this might be some great information for them. I hope that they reach out to you.
I hope so. That'd be great.
Yeah. So any other closing comments before we close out for today?
No, I would just say this is something that, you have to use. You have to do, you have to actualize it. And not just say, some people, and these are letters, so some people say, oh, I'm a high, whatever, and it's not an excuse. It's never an excuse for your behavior. It's just to let you know who you are, how other people see you. It's all perception, how other people see you, and how you can adapt for other people. And we need to do that.
Yeah, the aha moment is saying, oh, wow, this is why I am like I am. But I love that you say that's not an excuse, because that doesn't mean that we can treat people poorly because we have an excuse to be the way that we are, or, we can let it destroy our relationship because, hey, this is just who I am.
Exactly.
Right. And if both people have knowledge about these differences, these different personality types, if other people have this kind of knowledge, if both partners do, then how much better, because you can both be able to use that to make your relationship better instead of making them wrong, blaming them, expecting too much of them that they're just maybe not to the core capable of doing.
Right. And, and the more we practice this and do it, it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, because blaming seems to be our second nature right now, right? Easy to blame, point the finger. But when you start working this behavior styles, it becomes second nature, and that becomes what you do. Right.
Well, I'm going to encourage people to go to your website. I'm going to go ahead and post it here on the screen. And so it is, did I spell that right? MarcyRich.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, so if you'd like to find out more about relationships and the 4 different relationship types that Marcy went into today, which was fascinating, then please contact her through her website. You can also let me know if you need to get a hold of her. I'd be happy to make that connection if for some reason, I don't know, you can't figure it out. But she had some great information for us today. So if you didn't see the whole broadcast, please go back and watch it from the beginning on the replay. So again, this is my Togetherness Tuesday, and I thank everybody for being with us today who came on. Thank you if you're watching the replay. I hope you got a lot out of it. Thank you so much, Marcy, for being with us today.
Thank you, Kim, for having me. I really appreciate it.
We really learned a lot today. I learned a lot today.
Good.
So again, go to Sailing Happily Ever After, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my videos. If you do miss them, you can watch the replays on my Facebook page. You can go to my YouTube channel, or you can go to my website, which is sailinghappilyeverafter.com. So until next Tuesday, keep keeping it together. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.